seek recognition.
Mr. Chairman, I rise because I have an amendment at the desk.
The clerk will designate the amendment.
Amendment number 3, printed in House Report number 115-815, offered by Ms. Jackson Lee of Texas.
Pursuant to House Resolution 989, the gentlewoman from Texas, Ms. Jackson Lee, and a member opposed, each will control 5 minutes. The chair recognizes the gentlewoman from Texas.
I thank the chair very much, and let me thank the ranking and the chairman for bringing this bill to the floor and working on some very important items, including diversity and outreach and HBCUs, issues of which I've worked on as well. So I thank them very much because bringing the expertise of diversity to the national security and intelligence community can only make us stronger. Mr. Chairman, I have just left the Judiciary Committee, of which we have been spending a period of time dealing with questions that wrap themselves around the intelligence community and the importance of preserving confidential sources and as well the importance of the intelligence community as it relates to the ongoing Russian investigation. Equally important, of course, is to ensure that we have a community that is well recognized to have security clearances that are not impacted by actions or views that would do harm to the American people. My amendment adds to the sense of Congress in the bill that a re-review of a security clearance holder's credentials can be triggered by his or her association or empathy with persons or organizations that advocate, threaten, or use force or violence or any other illegal or unconstitutional means in an effort to prevent others from exercising their rights under the Constitution or laws of the United States or of any state on account of race, religion, national origin, disability, or other impermissible factors, which may be including LGBTQ, and whether one is, in essence, considered different. That is a basis of, I think, a very positive addition to this legislation. I ask unanimous consent to include in the record an article published on July 6, 2018 by PBS Frontline about Michael Marcellus, an active member of the California-based Rise Above movement, RAM, as well-known violent white supremacist group.
That'll be covered under general leave.
I just make indication that this gentleman was at Charlottesville, speaking loudly, intimidating my fellow alums or my fellow students, having gone to the University of Virginia School of Law. But I spoke to the president and officers there, and the students were patently and conspicuously intimidated and frightened. But more importantly, this individual had a security clearance, and he worked for a defense contractor. And so my amendment would ensure that the American people have strong national security, strong intelligence community, but individuals who receive a clearance can receive it appropriately and that they themselves will not be a jeopardy to the citizens of the United States. I ask my colleagues to support this amendment, and I reserve my time.
Who seeks time?
Mr. Chairman, I claim time in opposition to the amendment, though I'm not opposed.
Without objection, the gentleman from California, Mr. Nunez, is recognized. And reserves his time. Gentlelady from Texas is recognized.
Mr. Chairman, I would be delighted to yield 1 minute. How much time do I have, Mr. Chairman?
2¼ minutes.
Okay. 1¼ minutes to the chairman of the ranking member of the Intelligence Committee, Mr. Schiff. Thank you.
The gentleman from California, Mr. Schiff, is recognized for 1¼ minute.
I thank the gentlewoman. I can probably give you the quarter back. I rise in support of the amendment authored by my friend and colleague, the gentlewoman from Texas, Congresswoman Sheila Jackson Lee. This amendment complements other provisions in the bill focused on improving the security clearance process in the Intelligence Committee. Specifically, Ms. Jackson Lee's amendment recognizes that an immediate review may be called for when a security clearance holder is reported to have engaged in certain violent acts against individuals, property, or public spaces based on an association or sympathy with persons or organizations seeking to prevent others from exercising their constitutional rights. Such rights include those related to race, religion, national origin, or disability. I thank the gentlewoman for offering this amendment. I'm pleased to support it, and I urge my colleagues to do the same. And with that, I yield back.
I thank you for his kind support. I'm prepared to close, Mr. Chairman. I offered it if you wish to speak, and then I speak, and then you'll close.
The gentlelady from Texas is recognized. Does she reserve?
I reserve. Thank you very
Gentleman
much.
from California is
I'm
recognized.
prepared to accept the amendment, and I continue to reserve.
Gentlelady from Texas.
I thank the gentleman very much. RAM, the group that I've indicated in special leave asking for submission of this, let me very quickly say, RAM, of which this gentleman was a member of, is characterized as operating like a street fighting club. Members actively trained to do physical battle with their ideological foes and have been involved in violent clashes during political rallies and demonstrations. RAM members consider themselves to be part of the alt-right. RAM's membership has deep roots in Californians. The skinheads and other individuals face serious criminal charges. But more importantly, RAM consists of several dozen loosely affiliated neo-Nazi racist skinheads. It is not an emphasis on that group. This amendment is broadly structured to deal with protecting the security clearance process and the American people. And I join with my colleagues in hoping and helping the intelligence community to be able to have the resources for the backlog of thousands and thousands of those seeking security clearance so that they can be particular and astute to ensure that people who receive it, it is a benefit. It is in essence a gift. It is an honor to receive a security clearance. The clearance that I have and members of Congress have, we hold it with the highest respect and dignity. And therefore, if it is given to anyone, it should be given with that. I ask my colleagues to support the Jackson-Lee amendment. With that, I yield, Mr. Chairman.
Gentlelady's time has expired. Gentleman from California, Mr. Nunes.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and I will just close by saying that the security clearance process needs a lot of work, so we support this amendment, and I yield back the balance of my time.
Gentleman yields back his time. The question is on the amendment offered by the gentlelady from Texas, Ms. Jackson-Lee. Those in favor say aye. Those opposed, no. Opinion of the chair, the ayes have it. The amendment is agreed to.